Welcome to Small Town Bonsai and Bonsai Therapy. Today I'm going to start a little project with an Adenium, also known as desert rose. I'm going to show it to you right here. And I want to turn this plant into a bonsai. And it's a fairly long process in the sense that when I'm going to start today, it may not be completed into what I'm thinking that I want to see until a month, if not a year and a half down the road. But I want to start this process. We're in the very late spring, very early summer. And I want to make sure that we do step by step in stages how this process is going to work. So Adeniums or desert roses, they are actually in the succulent family. They are not trees, but they do look like trees. They are beautiful plants, very resilient. They don't like the cold. So when it's time to winter in our area in the Florida Panhandle, I need to put them in the greenhouse with my heaters. Some people just don't water them at all and protect them, put them in a place where they're not going to freeze, even though it's going to be cold. And they'll pretty much drop all the leaves. And in the spring, they'll water them again. They come back. But I have noticed that as long as they stay in my greenhouse with the heaters and everything else, they keep going. They don't stop going. So that's what I do with them. I'll have another one to show what kind of flowers we get from them. Sometimes they come in different varieties, different colors, but they are gorgeous flowers. So these plants are fantastic. So if we want to turn them into a bonsai, we're going to need a few different tools. You notice right here, let me explain. This is a little container that I have with alcohol. And I have some cotton balls in there. And every tool that I'm going to use with this plant, I'm going to put in my alcohol just to disinfect the tools. It's always a good practice to do that. Even with really resilient plants that don't really need that, if you keep your tools disinfected, it's not a bad practice to have. So the first thing I'm going to do with this one is I'm going to completely defoliate the plant. And that way I can see the structure. And I'll show it to you in just a little bit. I'm just hoping that there's enough sunlight for you guys to see what I'm doing. But you see, we just defoliate the whole thing. So if you want to try this and you don't have one of these plants yet, sometimes you can find them at different nurseries for a decent price. I am developing some of them for sale, so keep an eye on my website. Maybe I'll have some by then, by the time this video comes out. But I'm pretty sure I'll have plenty of them as bonsai, not necessarily as plants that you might want to work on, but I might have some too. Most of these I developed from seeds, which is fascinating to me because the seeds, once they come out, they have this little like cotton hairs on both sides. So you gotta be careful, they fly away very easily. So, as keeping with the theme of my bonsai therapy, this is going to be a really cool example of what I'm usually talking about when I'm talking about the importance of looking at these plants, what we do to them, and how this could reflect what sometimes happens in life. Right now, I'm putting this plant through a lot of stress. I mean, here you go. The plant doesn't even know what's going on. They don't have a brain to process anything. It just realizes that something's going on, lost all the leaves, and some other things are going to happen to it. But the plant is going to react to all the bad things that are happening to it by becoming stronger and providing with new foliage, new growth. So just like in life, sometimes life throws us curves and bad situations. But if we look at those bad situations and turn them into something that we work with to create something beautiful, those bad situations could become something good. So now that I have my Adenium completely defoliated right there. My next step is I'm gonna get it out of the little pot. And this is kind of a dirty process. So the first thing is I'm gonna completely clean the roots. This I didn't water for a while, making sure that the soil was gonna be dry and it's gonna be fairly easy to completely remove all the dirt. It's a dirty process, but I always have fun with it. I'm like a little kid. I love the whole idea of playing with dirt. So it's always fun. It's always relaxing. It's a beautiful thing. And today happens to be a really beautiful day. It's not too hot, not too cold. It's really nice. All right, so from there, I'm gonna start the process of selecting what branches I wanna keep, which branches I wanna keep. And in this case, obviously, this plant is way too tall. I'm gonna take a sharp knife, preferably a razor, and I'm gonna be going really close with being very careful. When you're working with a razor instead of scissors, you wanna be very careful not to cut yourself. That's the main thing. You don't wanna hurt yourself. So the reason why I do like a razor instead of scissors is because when you use scissors, it's gonna apply some pressure. And that pressure is going to crush some of the bark on the plant. So for some trees, it's not a problem, but these are kind of delicate barks that they have. So when you just cut with a razor, you avoid that crushing process. And the branches would look much better later on. So you can see, I'm still trying to look for that triangular shape that our bonsais tend to look like. It's not always the case, but it's very, very normal. And I'm gonna be reducing significantly the size, pretty much every branch, because I want every branch to branch out. These plants are incredibly resilient. They're gonna take this abuse and they are gonna use it to become more beautiful, stronger, just like what we need to do with our lives. Take all the abuse we get from our lives and become stronger. So as you can see, it's really tall. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it right here, very carefully. Here we go. So I might clean this just a little bit more, being very careful. Excellent. So that's how my Adenium looks like now. You're like, oh my God, Wilson, what did you do to this plant? You'll see. We're not done yet. Now we're gonna take that same blade. See branches like this? We might use them to propagate. They do propagate well from cuttings. So now I'm gonna clean some of the roots right here. Remove some of these roots, especially the ones, some of these that are really, really high over here. Don't need them. Don't need them, but it will give me a nebari, you know, the part where the roots go out. It'll start thickening a lot more once I plant this tree. Well, this Adenium, not a tree. All right. Now, because I want it to be a bonsai, I cannot have all this ball of roots right there. If you see, that's too much. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna come here with a bigger blade. I'm gonna select somewhere around here because I wanna make sure that I have a nice root base. And I'm gonna go ahead and cut it. It's like a potato. It's like you're cutting a potato. And obviously my camera is moving, so I'm sorry about that. I apologize for the movement, but the camera is on the same table that I'm cutting. And I've used this blade a couple of times already, so I think it's ready to be replaced with a new one. But look at this. There's my Adenium. Now look at the difference. See that? And all this came out of there. All right. I'm still gonna clean this just a little bit more. Now here's an interesting step that we cannot forget about. I don't want you to forget that these plants also can get some funguses and some illnesses that could come through those cuts. So we're gonna get some cinnamon ground cinnamon, and we're gonna pour it on all the cuts that I made. And why cinnamon? Well, cinnamon is, interestingly enough, it's all natural. It comes from a tree. This is the bark of a tree. It's antifungal, antibacterial. So if you don't want to use chemicals, which I very rarely do, sometimes I do because I got no better options. But if you don't want to use chemicals like antifungal chemicals, this does a wonderful job for this plant. And you put plenty of cinnamon right there. All right, and that cinnamon will protect those cuts, those wounds, and it'll help the plant heal. So now, are we gonna plant this right away? No. This plant now needs to callus. Once this bottom calluses, then I can put it on some soil and start watering it and letting it start develop new roots, new foliage, and let the process continue. Because of the shape, I really like this shape and I really like the size. I'm probably gonna put it right away on a bonsai pot and let it grow as a bonsai right away. But in some other cases, you might wanna put the plant in a growing pot, let it develop a little bit more. So, if you like this kind of content, please feel free to subscribe, give me a like, make some positive comments. My whole purpose is to help people that need to use bonsai as a therapy. I'm not trying to be a bonsai master. I just want people to realize that if you're going through something difficult in life, like this plant just went through, and I represent life, I'm giving this plant a lot of stress. You can still come out of it and become something even better, even more beautiful than what the wounds created. So these wounds are gonna give this plant the chance to develop more beautiful growth. So that's what we wanna do with this channel. So if you like the content, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and wait for part 2 because I'm gonna show you how I plant this tree, or this adenium, I'm sorry, not a tree. And we'll go from there. We're gonna see the progression until it actually becomes a bonsai. Remember, a tree with strong roots can withstand even the worst or most violent storms. Strong roots. See you soon. Welcome back to Small Town Bonsai and the Bonsai Therapy channel. Today, we're gonna continue with that little project that we had. We were working with the desert rose, and I wanna show you, it's been 9 days since the last time that you saw me cutting the roots, trimming the whole top. It looked a little abusive. Let me show you how the plant looks like now. It's almost like a little dehydrated, but if you look right here at the bottom carefully, the plant has callus. It has calloused all the bottom. All the tops are calloused also. There's no excessive humidity anywhere. It's ready to be potted right now. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put the little plant right here. And I decided to use this pot right here. It's a 6-inch bonsai pot. And the main reason why I'm gonna use this one today is because it's a little deeper than most other pots. I want this plant to develop roots, more roots, so I'm gonna go ahead and plant it here. But in the future, it might go into maybe a shallower pot, maybe not, we'll see. So for now, that's what we're gonna do today. All right, so my first thing is gonna be to bring some soil. And this is a universal bonsai soil that I make myself with ingredients that I can locally find. I'm not gonna use akadama or anything like that with this one. Desert roses are very resilient plants. They can withstand a lot of abuse. So even though this is a really good soil, I've had very, very good results with it. I'm not gonna use the more expensive soil for this specific plant. All right, so I've already prepared the pot, put the mesh under it, put wires to hold it. I'm gonna create a little mound right where I think the plant needs to be. And then I do have a combination of certain fertilizers and things like that I use there. You don't have to use anything like that. It'll be just fine with the soil. I always like to give the plants a little extra support. But for now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this wires to hold it in place, just so it has a chance to develop new roots, grow stronger without much movement. And I'm gonna crisscross these wires just because there's not a lot of roots down here to attach the plant. And you're gonna see that it might be planted a little deeper, but as I said, I wanna develop a set of nice roots here. So we're gonna do this like that. And it's a fairly quick process. There we go. And once I have it fairly well attached, the whole purpose of doing this is basically just to make sure that the plant doesn't move, plant stays in place, and that will allow for the root system to grow easier without any disturbing. If the plant is trying to produce brand new roots and they're very delicate, very young, and the plant is moving a lot, those roots are gonna get hurt, they're gonna get affected by it negatively, and we don't want that. So now I'm gonna put a little bit more soil here. Okay, I just noticed I completely forgot my chopstick, but there were not very many roots there. So I'm just gonna use this piece of wire to do a little bit of adjustment here, to do a little bit of the same job that I would have done with a chopstick, just to make sure that all the soil gets back to where it needs to be. There's no air pockets in between there. Yeah, you know, sometimes you gotta be resourceful. If you forgot one tool and you use something else. In this case, I forgot to bring my chopstick. It might take me a minute if I go all the way to the front of the house, go get one, come back. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do this right now, right there. And all right, then we're gonna put a little pressure there just to make sure everything is in place. And this is how it's gonna look for now. So my next step is gonna be to water it, make sure it's properly watered so the plant hydrates again. It's gonna stay in a place where it's shade to protect it from the direct full sun until I still start seeing new buds and new leaves and things like that. Then it can be moved. But for now, we're just gonna water the plant and wait for it to start coming right back up. As soon as I have new growth, I'll be showing you how it looks. All right, as usual, please don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. Give me a thumbs up, make some good comments for people who are going through bonsai therapy and they need the support. See, this plant is going through a lot right now, but it's gonna come back with a lot of strength and very healthy. So just like we do when we go through certain hard times in our lives, man, we come back. We'll do what we have to do, and we come back with a lot stronger, with new experiences, and maybe we can help other people with our experiences to get out of those situations and learn from them. All right, thank you very much. Don't forget that, you know, a tree with strong roots can withstand the most violent storms. I'll see you in the next one.